Pati Navalta Poblete was a journalist for 15 years, having worked as a columnist and editorial writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, in addition to serving as staff editor of numerous daily newspapers in California. Her year-long editorial series on the welfare of foster children in California helped lead to numerous changes in the state law and won her numerous national awards. Ms. Poblete was the Chronicle's nominee for the Pulitzer Prize in editorial writing in 2006 and 2007. Her novel, The Oracles, My Filipino Grandparents in America, is required reading in numerous high schools and colleges throughout the U.S. She lives in Vallejo, California. Please welcome Pati Navalta Poblete.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone coming tonight. And I just first wanted to start by thanking Reni. I got an email one night, so tired, and asking if I would be interested in including a chapter of my work in her book. And I can't describe how that made me feel just looking at the other authors that you had on there. It felt like an embrace, having my words sandwiched between the works of these great literary authors is just amazing. And to know that it's going to be in bookshelves for generations and generations is so humbling. So thank you. And I never thought I'd follow the act of Carlos Bulusan through the filter of the animated Mr. Lozada, but I will try. What I'm about to read is the last chapter of my book, and it was while I was at the Chronicle, and I was really thirsting for a labor of love. And I wanted to, like you said, I'm second generation, so I was looking to leave something behind for my children. And I was primarily raised by my 4 grandparents because my parents worked a lot. And so this wasn't a story about my sacrifice or my displacement. This was in honor for them, for their sacrifice and their displacement, which I never fully appreciated until I had to take the journey back to the Philippines. So there's 2 layers, because when I went back to the Philippines, that's where I felt displaced. That's where I felt out of the ordinary. And then I figured there are 2 homes. This one is one that I never knew about. So this is what this chapter describes. And the realization that there are 44 of us first cousins on my mother's side. The American ones looking at the Filipino ones thinking, wow, if my parents never immigrated, I could have been one of them. And them looking at us saying, wow, if my parents had immigrated, I could have been one of them. So it was a strange realization, and that's what this chapter tries to capture. And it took place in Cotabato City in Kiamba, near the home of Pacquiao. The night before we were to leave for home, my Filipino cousins decided to take my American cousins and me to the plaza. We didn't know what that was, but we thought it would be fun to get out of the house and not have to pray or recite the rosary again. My American cousins and I dressed up, wearing our best jeans, stylish wedge heel sandals, and chic beaded tops. The guys decided to go commercial, sports jerseys, flashy Nike shoes, and other hip-hop wear. We each emerged from our rooms and headed downstairs to meet our Filipino cousins. There they sat in the living room, staring at us as we descended. Each of them was wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. None of the girls was wearing makeup, whereas my American cousins and I had spent an hour looking for a voltage adapter so we could plug in our hair dryers and curling irons. We had spent the next hour fighting over the small bamboo-lined mirror in our room so we could put on the makeup that was now dripping down our sweaty faces. Our American group stood there staring at our Filipino cousins while they stood, staring back at us. It was like the scene from The Outsiders. Finally, our oldest cousin motioned for the door, and everyone proceeded to follow him. We stopped at the corner in front of Grandma's house, expecting a van or a series of taxis to pick us up. But our Filipino cousins started to walk. "Where are you going?" I yelled. "The plaza," they answered in unison. So we followed. 3 blocks later, we came across a small park surrounded by vendors. The streets were lined with small, open eateries and karaoke bars. The smell of barbecued chicken and pork was everywhere. "The plaza," said our cousin, spreading his arms out. We walked into a place called the Lechon House, where we found 2 of our uncles already drunk off San Miguel beer and their sorrows. "My family," slurred our Uncle Bobot, the second to the youngest of my mother's siblings. We took seats at their table, occupying most of the space in the bar. "We are the Baigan family," yelled one of my cousins, to which all the other Filipino cousins cheered. My American cousins and I didn't know how to react. We never displayed such family pride in America. In fact, I spent most of my childhood years trying to denounce my grandparents and their names. Our eldest cousin ordered a round of beers. "This is for Grandpa and for all our cousins in America. Do not forget us," he said, lifting his bottle for a toast. It took a while for everyone to clink their bottles together, and by the time everyone was done, many had begun to cry. They knew that in the morning we would be gone, to a land they had dreamed about all their lives. And I knew that in the morning I would be leaving a place that was beginning to feel more like home to me than anywhere in America. This is where I really discovered my grandparents, the lives they led, and the land they left for me and my family. I woke up the next day staring at my luggage. Outside the window, a street peddler was making his early morning rounds. "Pandesal," he called. "Balut." I slipped on my flip-flops and shorts, already dressing like a native. My cousins and I had stayed up the night before to prepare our things so we wouldn't have to rush in the morning. Now all we had to do was say goodbye. Thank you.